What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are taking a look at the Halloween Elizabeth Bathory. Now my original plan was to release this video during the Halloween event in which she was a part of, but unfortunately I did come down with a bit of a cold and it made it rather difficult for me to talk. So making a video in which I have to talk a lot was kind of difficult, and I decided to just postpone the video until after the event ended when I was recovered and all that. So I am going ahead with the video just because I want to do a video on every character in the game. And yeah, it's a couple days late, but at least it's gonna come out, sooner rather than later. So the pictures are on the screen for you guys to see, and she has some pretty okay artwork. I do like, it's obviously a Halloween theme because of the character. But the final Ascension artwork just looks a bit cluttered to me. But it is really cool. I definitely like it. It just seems like it's a bit cluttered, that's all. So moving on here to her stats, she is going to be a caster, so she will be effective against assassins and weak to riders. And she will be a 4-star servant, and she is entirely free to play. You got her, as most of you probably know, by doing the Halloween event, so you could get her and then farm multiple copies with the items in the shop and all that stuff. And this is why I wanted to make the video while the event was going on, in case for some reason someone didn't know about it. But anyway, at max stat, she's going to have, or at level 80, she's going to have 8,616 attack and 11,404 HP, which is pretty good stats for a free-to-play unit. And she's basically the first real, serious free-to-play event unit in the game. And we are going to get a bunch more in the future, but she is pretty much the first one. So she's got some pretty good stats, definitely usable, especially right now in the current point in the game. And if you decide to max her out, she's going to end up with 12,432 attack and 15,827 HP. So she does have a really high HP stat, and her attack stat is also pretty good as well. So overall, she's a very solid unit, and she has some really good skills and a noble phantasm that we will talk about right now. So her first skill is going to be called the Innocent Monster EX skill. Now this is a self-buff skill that will give her critical stars each turn for 3 turns, and then it will also restore her own HP in just a 1 burst HP buff. So at level 1 you're going to gain 6 critical stars, and at level 10 you're going to gain 12 each turn, and at level 1 you'll heal 1000 HP, and at level 10 you will heal 2000 HP, which is a pretty moderate heal, but it's always nice when you can self-heal yourself while still gaining an additional bonus. Her second skill is going to be the Mana Burst Pumpkin A skill, which is a self-buff, and then it's also going to deal damage to all enemies as well. So it will increase Buster Card effectiveness for herself for 1 turn, and it will inflict burn on all enemies for 10 turns. So this is a really nice skill. At level 1 you're going to get a 25% Buster Card effectiveness increase, and at level 10 it's going to go all the way up to 45%, and then you're going to deal 300 burn damage for 10 turns. So that's going to do some pretty good dot damage, and you can combo that in with other characters that do burn as well, just to do some pretty serious dot damage overall. And then her third and final skill is going to be the Performance Continuation A skill, which is going to apply Guts 1 time over the course of 5 turns, and it will also gain critical stars. So at level 1 you're going to come back to life with 1000 HP, and at level 10 you're going to come back with 2000 HP, and you're going to gain 8 critical stars not each turn. You're going to gain 8 critical stars across the board. So it's pretty nice. You can combo that in with, her first skill and other characters that do critical star gain, and you can do some pretty solid damage with her overall. So moving on here to her class skills. Her first skill is going to be the Territory Creation B skill, which will increase art card effectiveness by 8%. And then her second skill is going to be the Item Construction A skill, which will increase debuff success rate by 10%. So this is really nice for comboing with her burn skill. So moving on here to her Ascension materials. Now these materials are only available during the Halloween quest, and obviously the event is over right now, but you all should have been able to get the 4 materials needed to max ascend her. If not, you're gonna have to wait until next year. I assume it'll come back and you can get these again. But as far as I know, there are no other ways of getting these items currently in the game. So next up we have her skill enhancement materials, and for this you're just going to need normal items. Now all of I don't know what to call them, the universal items, I guess, were available in her event in the shop, so you could pick those all up, and then you could farm the caster specific materials in the daily quests. So overall, it wasn't too difficult to find the materials to max her out, but obviously, you know, you could probably use these on other characters if you so desire. So she didn't have like specific event materials to max her out, which would have been pretty cool in my opinion, to have, you know, unique Ascension and skill enhancement materials to max her skills out. But, you know, maybe next time. So moving on here to her command cards and her Noble Phantasm. She has 1 quick, 3 arts, and 1 buster card. So you can use her in arts teams because she has the 3 arts cards, but you can also use her in buster teams as well because her Noble Phantasm is buster and her second skill deals with buster, and there's just so many things you can do to get that buster damage maximized. It wouldn't be a bad idea to throw into a buster team. And then as for her Noble Phantasm, like I said, it is a buster Noble Phantasm, and it will deal heavy damage to all enemies that ignores defense, and then it will also inflict curse for 3 turns on the overcharge. So this is a pretty cool skill. It does a ton of damage, and you can combo it with her burn and curse to do some serious dot damage overall. And at level 5, which should be very easily attainable because she's a free-to-play unit, and you can get all of the items you need and all the different copies of her from just farming the event. So you can go up and do 2500 curse damage each turn for 3 turns, which is really good. And then you have that 500% damage for her Noble Phantasm. So it's a really good, really strong Noble Phantasm, free to play, and you can use some craft essences to buff up that damage to get the maximum output. But we will talk about those in just 1 second. For now, we will talk about her unique craft essence you get from maxing her bond out, and this will unlock the Pumpkin Holy Grail, which will increase debuff resistance of all allies by 30% while on the field. So it's not a, you know, a great craft essence. You're probably not going to use it. You'll probably want to use some of the other ones I'm about to talk about. So you could use the Black Grail craft essence. Now this will increase your Noble Phantasm damage by 60%, but it has the drawback of dealing 500 damage to you each turn. Now you can kind of counter this by using her first skill, which will allow you to heal HP back. So it kind of offsets it, and it still gives you the insane increase in damage for your Noble Phantasm, which you kind of want. And the 500 HP a turn isn't really that much to worry about, so I wouldn't worry about it too much. You could also try and boost up her buster card effectiveness by using the Verdant Sound of Destruction for the 15% increase, or Limit 0 Over for the 25% increase. Obviously not everyone's going to have Black Grail, so you have to have other alternates to use for the buster card increase, and these are 2 good options you could use in place of Black Grail. But you could also go the other route and use her in the arts card of, you know, effectiveness range with an arts team. So you could use projection for the 15% increase, or you could use formal craft for the 25% increase, or you could go ahead and use some of the newer craft essences that were released a little bit of, you know, a couple banners ago, in using the Victor of the Moon, which will be a 10% increase of buster card effectiveness, and then it will also increase your critical strength by 20% if you're using her on like a buster setup. Or you could use another ending, and that does the same thing but for quick, or for arts rather, where it'll do a 10% increase for arts and then the 20% increase in critical strength. So there's a whole bunch of things you could really use for her. Obviously you could use like Kaleidoscope for the Noble Phantasm start, but there's just so many other craft essences now that you could use. You don't really need Kaleidoscope that much anymore, so I don't know if I really recommend it. But, you know, it's definitely an option if you know, really don't have anything else to use. So that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these, and I've kind of, you know, messed up a little bit along the way, but I suppose that's nothing new in these videos. So yeah, I'm going to try and get back to these full time and start making them every day again. So now I'm going to leave you guys here with Elizabeth's Noble Phantasm, and I will see you guys tomorrow.
のスペシャルコラボよ。ウサギみたいに飛び跳ねてね。バートリハロウィン LJ